Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, with just days before the start of a new semester at the University of Kentucky, officials talk about their plans to keep students safe on campus. And former President Donald Trump lashes out following his indictment in Georgia.
Plus, we are tracking a stretch of mainly dry weather across the region. Your full forecast coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts right now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The University of Kentucky has roughly 30,000 students enrolled. This week, 6,000 new students are moving into the 19 residence halls on campus. As Samantha Valentino explains, university officials are sharing their continued efforts to keep everyone safe.
I don't think you can overstate how important safety is as a priority for our campus community.
UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says in the past decade, UK has invested more than $15 million into safety initiatives.
And that includes those security systems you're talking about, that expanded security camera coverage, notification technology.
All students are automatically enrolled in the UK alert system. It allows campus officials to send information to the phones of everyone within the campus community within seconds. Chief Monroe says this allows them to make sure everyone is aware of any potential safety threats on campus.
We have 64 plus blue phones around campus that allow us to have cameras as well as loudspeaker warning system. And in the case of emergency, somebody can push that button and they contact UK police.
According to UKPD, evaluation studies found that in most cases, the department has the ability to respond to emergencies on campus within 90 seconds. This kind of presence is something UK says is a vital part of campus safety.
One of the things that we really focus on is making sure we provide that educational environment where somebody can be successful by not having to worry about their safety.
Jay Blanton explains that UK thinks about safety in a big picture context.
It's physical safety, there's no question about that, but it's also overall safety and well-being. How do we support someone's mental health and their well-being as well? And we've invested a lot in that in recent years as well.
In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
UK police say the 6,000 cameras scattered across the campus assist them during emergency situations.
Well, the weather is fantastic as we go into your Tuesday evening. Here's a live look from the WYMT studio and plenty of sunshine and blue sky back in the distance. But the big story is the cooler and drier weather. Current temperature 77 degrees. It is August the 15th and many of us are in the upper 70s at this hour. 77 for Jackson, also Irvin, 80 for London, 79 over in Somerset and 78 in Pikeville. So we are well below average, but I don't think anyone is complaining about that this evening. Those temperatures are comfortable, but those dew points also comfortable in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Yesterday, we had dew points in the 70s, so you can feel the difference as you walk out the door this evening. It feels really nice out there, and that will continue as we go into tonight. On the radar, we are dry, but we are watching out for a few spotty sprinkles over northern Kentucky, also southern Ohio, and that could try to bring a few showers to the I-64 corridor over our northern counties. But for most of us, we do stay dry as we go into this evening, and that will continue as we go into tonight as well. Those temperatures fall into the middle and at lower 60s tonight, watching out for potentially some dense fog and another really nice day on tap on Wednesday before more summer heat by this weekend. Those details on the way in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. The mother of a 6-year-old who shot his first grade teacher pleaded guilty to felony child neglect today. The state charge against Deja Taylor carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, but prosecutors say they'll ask for 6 months due to a plea deal. In court, it was revealed her son pulled the gun from her purse. The teacher, Abigail Zwerner, is recovering after Taylor's son shot her at a Virginia elementary school in January. Former President Donald Trump is accused of trying to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state of Georgia. Late Monday night, a grand jury in that state handed down an indictment against the former president and several of his allies. It is now the 4th criminal case that Trump is fighting as he runs for president again. CBS's Christian Benavidez has more from Atlanta, Georgia.
Former President Donald Trump is facing new charges, this time in the state of Georgia.
The indictment includes 41 felony counts and is 97 pages long.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis pursued the case, charging Trump and 18 of his allies, including attorneys John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani, and Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Trump himself is facing 13 felony counts, including violating Georgia's RICO Act, a racketeering law used to take down major crime organizations.
She likes it because she can wrap together a lot of activities with a great number of defendants and be able to bring in evidence against one that then spills over onto the others.
The RICO Act charge alone carries a mandatory minimum of 5 years in prison.
Trump says he will present a report next week alleging election fraud in Georgia in 2020 that will clear his name.
Trump slammed Willis during a campaign rally in New Hampshire last week, calling her a racist, and said he did nothing wrong.
I challenged the election in Georgia, which I have every right to do, which I was right about, frankly. And they want to indict me because I challenged the election.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp posted on social media Tuesday the 2020 election in Georgia was not stolen. He added that nobody has been able to prove claims of fraud in a court of law. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Atlanta.
Trump and his co-defendants have until next Friday, August 25th, to turn themselves in. President Biden is paying a visit to Wisconsin today in an effort to pitch his so-called Bidenomics. His message centers on the year-old Inflation Reduction Act and the investments he has made in American jobs, manufacturing, and climate change. The president is hoping that can be a contrast against the chaos surrounding former President Trump. So far, President Biden has avoided commenting on Trump while touring the country. Hunter Biden's lead criminal defense attorney wants off the case. In his request to withdraw, Christopher Clark told a federal judge he can now be called as a witness in future proceedings since the plea agreement will likely be contested. Last week, federal prosecutors said they reached an impasse on the plea deal related to tax offenses and a gun possession charge. The FBI says suspected Chinese hackers were able to access a U.S. representative's personal and campaign email accounts. Nebraska Republican Don Bacon is a vocal supporter of Taiwan and a critic of the Chinese government. In a social media post, Bacon said the hackers only got access to political strategy and fundraising information. Bacon is the first known lawmaker to fall prey to a reported Chinese espionage campaign. With only about a quarter of the wildfire burn area searched, the death toll from the deadliest wildfire in the United States in more than 100 years could still go up. At last check, it was at 99 people dead. And Hawaii's governor fears that number could double in the next 10 days. With more search teams and cadaver dogs being brought in to help, the search is expanding through wiped out neighborhoods. A professional surfer and a Maui native is leading one of the many citizen-run recovery efforts on the Hawaiian island. Kai Lenny says the government's response has been inadequate, and people in the fire zone tell him they have not seen a single government employee in days. While supplies are pouring in, the challenge is getting them to the people who need them.
Friends on the other side saying, hey, no one is here. Do you know anyone you can call? Can you help us? And it started off with really being boots on the ground. Okay, let's get the jet skis. Let's get the boats. Let's call friends who fly commercial aircraft and see if we can charter a plane.
There are more than 300 FEMA employees with an additional 250 Red Cross disaster workers on the ground, but Lenny says he has not seen them on the west side of Maui. Lenny hopes help arrives to give the volunteers just one day off to collect themselves. In a first-of-its-kind trial, a Montana state judge ruled in favor of 16 young environmental activists this week. The judge said Montana's government has not been upholding its state constitutional obligation to provide a clean and healthy environment. The young plaintiffs argued that they were being harmed by wildfire smoke, excessive heat, and other climate change issues.
I hope that because Judge Seeley ruled our current energy policy unconstitutional, that we might be able to construct an energy policy that's more in line with Montana's goals and Constitution.
State policy prevents agencies from looking at greenhouse gas emissions when evaluating fossil fuel permits, something the judge ruled as unconstitutional, but it's unclear if there will be any changes because it's up to Montana's Republican-controlled legislature to create new policies, and the state attorney general's office says it will appeal the ruling. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, with student loans restarting soon, some employers are now helping employees tackle their debt. We'll show you how it works and ways you can even get your family involved.
Plus, we are tracking nice weather through tonight and more heat for the weekend. Those details coming up after this break.